So in today's session, we'll continue from here. So in the last session, we tested batch receipts process or say receipt creation through spreadsheet. Here the concept is receipt reversal. Okay. Okay, receipt reversals. Take simple example. Say we have one transaction with $10,000 and we receive the payment from customer. So when you get the payment from customer, what we'll do, we'll create the receipt and we'll apply the receipt on the corresponding transaction. We'll create the receipt with say 10,000 and we'll apply the receipt. Okay, we will apply on transaction. This is a very standard process which we follow, right? So we'll create the transaction. When you do the sale, we'll create the transaction. The moment you get the payment from the customer, we'll create the receipt. The receipt will apply on the transaction. So after that, next step is if the payment is check, for example, we'll remit check to bank. You may call it as receipt will remit or check will remit. So we'll remit the check to bank. If the check is cleared, then we'll update the same status in the system as the receipt status as a cleared. If with any reason, if check is going to get bounced, say funds are not available in the customer account, then check may get bounced. In that case, what we have to do is we have to reverse the receipt. This receipt, whatever the receipt we created, say we'll reverse it, or say like, okay, we'll reverse it. When you reverse the receipt, the moment you apply the receipt, what happens? Like just the 10,000 will become 0, right? 10,000 transaction, we apply receipt with 10,000, the outstanding will be 0. The moment you reverse the receipt, again the transaction should open. Okay, the transaction should open. So if you are following this kind of process, when you reverse the receipt, if you want to open the existing transaction, okay, that process we call as standard receipt reversal. Here we have two terms. Standard receipt reversal. Standard receipt reversal means when you reverse the receipt, the reversal action will reopen the transaction. And if you take the same case, you have a transaction with 10,000, you create a receipt with 10,000, you applied the receipt on the transaction. Now you are going to reverse the receipt. The moment you reverse the receipt, when you reverse the receipt, if you don't want to reopen this transaction, so in that case we have an option to create the debit memo with the same amount. So here case I will take, when you apply, that will get reduced 10,000, this outstanding will become 0. Now you are reversing the receipt. Okay, once you reverse the receipt, with how much amount you are reversing the receipt, with the same amount you can create the debit memo. System will create the debit memo, the same amount with how much amount you are reversing the receipt, the same amount will create, system will create the receipt. This process we call as debit memo reversal. So there is no difference between these two in terms of outcome. So here we are reversing and we are opening the same amount from existing transaction. Okay, which transaction we closed by applying the receipt, the same transaction we are going to reopen. And here in this case, so after reversing, system is not going to reopen the transaction, the open items. System is going to create the separate transaction called as debit memo transaction with reversal amount. So these are the concepts. When you talk about receipt reversal, we have two options. One is we can go with the standard receipt reversal. The second option is debit memo receipt reversal. Okay, now we'll go and test these two cases. Okay, first we'll go and test standard receipt reversal. Sorry. Go to this transaction workbench. Let's go to the receipts workbench, accounts, receivables. Or else let me do one thing, simple point. Okay, I'll go with the same case here. I'll just will test this simple process. It won't take more than 5 minutes, 10 minutes total. So I'll create the transaction here with $20,000. I'll create the receipt with $20,000 and we'll reverse it and we'll check the status of the transaction balances. Okay, first we'll create one transaction with $20,000. So go to transaction workbench, receivables, billing. Just 1 second. So I create transaction. Here invoice. The customer name is Vision Customer. Tab out, it will fetch. Ignore this message. Say something like goods. Quantity 1. Say $20,000. Complete and review. Okay. Transaction is completed. Now just I'm going to close it. I'm sorry, forgot what is the transaction number. Fine, no issues there, we'll try to find it. Now we'll go and create the receipt. So receivables, accounts receivable, create receipt. Fusion check. Receipt amount is $20,000. And receipt from which customer? Correctly you can type here. Select customer site. We'll say submit and apply manually. Add open receivables. Select customer. And search for transactions. The latest transaction is 21. Okay, so we are going to apply the receipt on this transaction. So add and click on done. Let's say save and close. So now if you go to the transaction, just go to manage transactions. Search for the transaction with the transaction number. Transaction number is 21. Okay. So review installments. If you see here, the original amount is 20, balance due is 0. There is no due against this invoice. Reason, we applied the receipt. Done. Now we'll go and reverse the receipt. Go to receipt workbench, accounts receivable, select task called as manage receipts. Just provide business unit and receipt number we given 5555. Search. Now this receipt you want to reverse it. You can select here and go to actions and say reverse, or else you can open from with the open page also you can do it. Okay, so say reverse. We want to do standard receipt reversal. Click on reverse. Now what reason, which reason of the category, the reason will falls into which category, the reason category you can select. Say non-sufficient funds, customer account funds are not available. That just we are taking as a category. The actual reason also you can select the same, non-sufficient funds. Then say save and close. The receipt has been reversed. Click on done. Now we'll go to the transaction and we'll verify the balances. So manage transactions. Transaction number 21. Click on transaction number, it will open. Then go to actions, say review installments. Now see the balance due is 20,000. That means we are reopening the existing transaction on which transaction we applied the receipt by reversing the receipt. So this is all about standard receipt reversal. Now we'll see the debit memo receipt reversal. To test this functionality, we'll create the transaction with 10,000. We'll create receipt with 10. We'll apply and we'll reverse by following the debit memo receipt reversal process. Then system has to create the debit memo with the $10,000. At the same time, if you go and check the transaction, the original transaction, the balance should remain as 0 only. Okay, we'll do this now. So we'll go and create one transaction. So create transaction. Fusion, sorry. Select transaction source as Fusion invoice and select customer. Quantity 1, unit price is 10,000. Complete and review transaction. The transaction number 22. Close it. Now we'll go and create the receipt. Receivables, accounts receivable. Go to task list. Say create receipt. Select receipt method. Fusion check. And receipt number say 6666. And receipt amount is $10,000. And let us provide customer Fusion customer 1, customer site, and say submit and apply manually. Just click on add open receivables to apply the receipt on transaction. The transaction number is 22. Search, select, say add and click on done. Save and close. Okay. We know, like, if you go to the transaction to verify the balances, there won't be any due since we applied the receipt. Now the same receipt I want to reverse it. I want to reverse the same receipt. But as per standard process, we'll go and remit, then only we will come to know the what is the status of the pay customer payment and all. But here you no need to perform, but as a process I am discussing as we have to remit. Now we'll reverse the receipt. Go to manage receipts. Select business unit, receipt number is 6666. Then click on go. So select this receipt, then go to actions, say reverse, provide reversal reason under the reason category. So I'm selecting non-sufficient funds, and when I reverse it, I don't want to reopen the close transaction. I want to open the new transaction with the same receipt amount. So enable debit memo reversal. So we have a debit memo transaction type. The same we have to select Fusion debit memo, and here you can provide the account. One system will create the debit memo, that amount should hit to which account. I'll go with the same receivables account. So here we have it. Then say OK. So reversed. Now let's go to the transaction workbench. Go to manage transactions. Transaction number 22. If you go to this transaction, just go to actions, so manage installments. Okay, there is no balance due. Okay, there is no balance due because it's not reopening this transaction. Instead of reopening, system is creating the debit memo. Now we will go and find the debit memo, which is created for 10,000. Manage transactions. Fine. Here transaction class I'll select as a debit memo. There should be a debit memo with the 10,000. Right. Not required. I'll go with the customer. So let's say OK. So search. So this 101, this is the debit memo we created. This number generated based on the transaction source which we created for a debit memo. Now since system is creating the debit memo automatically, system is using the different transaction source. Debit memo reversal source system is using, which is a predefined by system. So for that it generated number as a 2 lakhs. This is 10,000. System created debit memo. So this is all about receipt reversal concept. Two options. One is standard receipt reversal. Second option is debit memo receipt reversal. Okay, the next concept is reciprocal customers. We'll see what configuration need to be done in the system, and later after doing the configuration we will test to understand how the process will work. Okay, reciprocal customers. Fine. Okay, what is the concept of reciprocal customers? It's very simple. So in payables we have a third party payments. Okay, we have a third party payments where we can have a supplier. Say simple example, we'll get invoice from one party, I mean to say supplier, but finally instead of making the payment to our supplier we can process the payment to third party. That already we tested in the payables. The same way in receivables, we can bill to one customer, but finally we'll get the payment from other party. So in the system, if you want to handle that kind of transaction, where we'll have a transaction with one customer, but payment will receive from other customer, we have to create the relationship between those two parties. One is our customer, other parties say third party. Between these two parties, we have to create the relationship called as reciprocal relationship. Then system will support to have a transaction with one party and receive from against the same transaction we can receive from other party. Okay, that's what we are going to test. Anyway, we'll take some example also to test it. So what setups we have to do in the system? Okay, if you want to implement the reciprocal customer transaction process in the system, what setups we have to do? Okay, so to test this functionality, what we'll do is say first we have to enable say reciprocal customers checkbox in system options. When you say system options are specific to BUs, right? BU specific. That means the system options level we have to enable reciprocal customer checkbox so that within our BU we can handle reciprocal is third party customer related payments also. This will enable it. Then other point here is we have to create, but anyway in the normal cases already customer will be existed, but to test this functionality we'll create the one more customer. We'll create one new customer. So already we have a customer one. Now here we'll create the customer called as Fusion customer 2, or else you may call it third party customer, third party, whatever. Now what we'll do is we have already customer called as Fusion customer 1. Now we are going to create one more customer called as Fusion customer 2. Between this Fusion customer 1 and 2 we have to create a reciprocal relationship. Say create reciprocal relationship between the customers, saying that behalf of which customer, okay, we can take the payment from which other customers, behalf of which customer is going, which party is going to make the payment. That relationship we can build through reciprocal relationship. And after completing this setup we have to go to set assignments. We have to set assignments. Okay, so we have a reference data set, right? So for every customer site definition we are using our own definition. So we cannot use predefined seeded or seeded reference data sets called as common set or enterprise set. These two we cannot use when you are creating the customer site. That is the reason we created our own reference data set. That reference data set we selected for our customer site. In the same way for relationship also we have to select the same, otherwise this function won't work. We'll see the set assignments, nothing but a reference data set. Okay, say set assignments at BU business unit level. We have to go on to specify the set assignments. The reference data set we have to overwrite from common to whatever we define. We'll see that. Once we complete these setups, what we'll do is, okay, this these are the setups. And we'll talk about process. So what we are going to do is, we'll create transaction with we'll just build to the customer called as a Fusion customer one. Okay, we'll create the transaction against the Fusion customer. Let's say $25,000. Okay, we'll create receipt against Fusion customer 2. The same amount or partial amount, anything we can take, 25,000. Finally, we'll apply Fusion customer 2 receipt on Fusion customer 1 transaction. Okay, this process only we call as just reciprocal customer related transaction process. Okay, when you are applying, system will accept because we are creating the reciprocal relationship between these two customers. Here what we have to do is, when I talk about reciprocal relationship, we'll go to the Fusion customer 1, and Fusion customer 1, within the Fusion customer 1 definition, we'll go and specify behalf of Fusion customer 1 payments can be accepted by Fusion customer 2. That's how we'll give the specification that only we call as reciprocal relationship. Let's go and do it now in the system. The first let's go through the setups. First, what we have to do is, we have to enable this reciprocal customer function at BU level. Go to system options. You say system options, we have to go to our implementation project, click on user, then click on setup and maintenance, go to implementation projects, open the implementation project, search for system options. Task name is manage receivables system options. Okay, then click on, go to task icon, okay, find system options for your BU. So our BU name is Fusion US Business Unit. Then click on go and select this BU record and click on edit, or else directly you can click on this BU name, it will open the system options, or else select the record, click on edit. Here under billing and revenue section, scroll little down. Here we have a customer section. So enable create reciprocal customer. It will support to create the relationship that only we call as creating the reciprocal customer. We'll create normal customer only, but we'll just classify that customer is reciprocal customer okay, in the system. Then just enable the checkbox and say save and close. Okay, done. Fine. Now we'll go and create the one more customer to test this functionality. So here you can search for the task called as create customer. Then just select task called as create customer, click on go to task icon. Just as we discussed, I am going to give the name as Fusion Customer 2. You select reference data set which we created. Search with the Fusion term. So this is the reference data set and select. Site name, Fusion Customer site. Same, you may just fill with the more information. So make sure that when you are creating address, you'll provide the complete address detail information. Otherwise, it will be like system will identify as incomplete. It doesn't support for customer refund processes and other activities also. There are a few other activities. Even fields are optional. Just try to provide as much as you can fill the data as address. Then now we'll select the purpose for this address. So address purposes, click on add. So this address purpose is bill to as well as ship to. Just click on add one more row, select here ship to. Just do the mapping for the, if it is ship to, for this which is the bill to, the same, just select here. You can say save and close. Okay, now you can search for the same customer, Fusion Customer 2. Okay, account level and site level, you can override the customer profile class. Click on customer account, go to profile history, and here we have a profile. Select, then go to actions, say correct record. Below you can go on to override the profile class. We created a profile class called as Fusion Standard. I'm selecting the same. Say yes. Change to Fusion Standard, then say save and close. Now we'll go to customer site, click on site number and go to profile history. Then click on create site profile. System will default the profile which is existed at site account level. System is defaulting. Then just simply say save and close. Now we have two customers. The next step is we have to create the reciprocal relationship between these two customers. From where we have to define? So very simple. We have to go to billing customer. To which customer we are going to bill, we have to go to that customer. From there we'll be selecting, we'll be making the payment against that customer related invoices. So now we are taking the example, we'll create the transaction with Fusion customer 1 and we'll receive the payment from Fusion customer 2. So to create this reciprocal relationship, we have to go to Fusion Customer 1. Okay, we'll go to the Fusion Customer 1 customer. So here you can go with the task called as manage customers to find, search and find. So customer name is Fusion Customer 1. Say search. Just go to account, only account level we have to set up. Click on account number. And here you can see one tab called as relationships. Click on this relationships and click on create. And before that we need that customer account number also up. It's mandatory here, you have to go with the number. Sorry. Just go to manage customers. The third party customer number we require. Fusion customer 2. This is the account number. Also done. Now go to Fusion Customer 1. Just click on account number to open the customer account. Go to relationships tab. Then click on create. Okay, related account. Just paste that number. And we are going to, what relation we are going to build? Reciprocal relation we are going to build. Here also select the same reference data set. So here we have Fusion, right? Say okay. And here also account relationship set, select as whatever we created. This is the one, right? Fusion USBU customer site. Yeah, that setup we didn't do, that's the reason it's not coming. This relationship we have to set assignments. Once we set assignments, then only it will come. Okay, business unit set assignments. So now we are going to build account relationship, right? So here we have a reference data object called as customer account relationship. Here also we have to select what we created. So save and close. Now it will support. Click on add reciprocal. Say okay. It's not yet updated. Cancel and reopen. Manage customers. Click on go to task. Using customer 1 and click on search. Go to account. Say relationship. That's cool. This is a customer, like we are going to map with which customer. Customer is Fusion customer 2 and relationship is reciprocal, and select account relationship set also same. So this already we updated at relationship level. Now it will accept. Done. Then say save and close. Click on done. Just what you can do is the sequence you can change. I think I given it this way. Okay, first you said that, then only we can do this. Okay, now we'll see the process. We'll go and create the transaction against customer 1 and we'll create receipt with the 2 and we'll apply the same on customer 1 transaction. Go to transaction workbench, receivables billing, so I create transaction. We'll take the same amount, say 25,000. Just click on the drop down and say complete and review. Transaction number 23. So customer is customer 1. Then close it by clicking on cancel. Say yes. Now go to receipt workbench. Click on navigator. Go to accounts receivable. Go to task list. Say create receipt. Receipt method Fusion check. Receipt number say 7777. Receipt amount is $25,000. Customer Fusion customer 2. So we received payment say from customer 2 site, then say submit and apply manually, or click on add open receivables. I think transaction number 23. Now you can find it. Even this transaction is related to customer 1 because these two customers got reciprocal relationship. Select. Now transaction is related to customer 1 receipt we create against 2. Click on add. Say up, done. That's it. And say save and close. So that's all about reciprocal customer. Same we have in EBS also, but there is no logic. It will work based on this set reference data set. There is no control with reference data set. Straight away you can do all these setups, these two setups, enabling get system options. We'll create the relationship, then we can test this functionality. But when you compare with EBS, this would be the additional setup which you have to do in Fusion. Okay, so this is all about reciprocal customers. Now next concept is cross currency receipts. Okay, fine. So let me take this. Fine. So when you talk about cross currency receipts, what is the meaning of cross currency receipt? It's very simple. We'll have a transaction in one currency, but we can record the receipt in different currencies. Still, we'll be able to apply the receipt on transaction. That only we call as cross currency receipts. That means transaction currency and receipt currencies can be different. Okay. In case of EBS, the cross currency payments are not possible in payables, but now in the Fusion already we tested, we can process the cross currency payments. In this cross currency receipts functionality we have in EBS also, the same we have in the Fusion. Okay, now we'll go and test it. Okay, fine. So basically to test this cross currency receipts, so we have to do certain configuration. So first what we have to do is, so we have to do some setups in the system options. So I'll just make a note those setups. Say configure system options for cross currency receipts, and other setup is bank account level. Just say I'll mention that point, enable multi-currency account checkbox at bank account level. And based on that, in which currency you have transaction, and in which currency you are going to record the transaction, between the transaction receipt currency, define daily rates. Okay, so define daily rates. Okay, so these are the setups. To test this functionality, we'll have a transaction. If you want transaction, like say we'll create one transaction, I'll go with here I'll say $100. We'll create on transaction with $100. We'll create receipt USD, and we'll create receipt in INR. I'll go with just INR. I'll be entering 6,000 rupees, and here rate I'll be setting $1 equal to 1 USD equal to 60 INR. It can be different. Here just I am taking to exactly to match that receipt amounts with the transaction without any unrealized gain or loss, but you can take any amount, okay, based on the conversion that will be resulted as a realized gain or loss. Okay, the same we are going to test now. So first we'll go on to we'll see the what is the configuration required at system options level. Okay, let's do it. Go to implementation project, click on setup and maintenance. So implementation projects, sorry, you can open the project. So system options, so task name is manage receivable system options. Just click on go to task icon, search for our business unit and click on go. Select, click on edit. Fine. Okay, here already we given that mandatory account, which is cross currency rounding account, already we given, and the relevant accounts here realized gain account and realized loss accounts, these accounts also already we given. The rounding and all not required. These are the mandatory accounts which you have to provide, already we given here. Just this is what I want to take you through. Okay, so that's all. Means since mandatory already we given those, now you don't have to just do anything. Just we are just noticing what setups we have to, which setups are relevant to this process at system options level. The next one is bank account. Go to bank account. Fine. So manage bank accounts. Click on go to task icon. So our bank account name is Fusion Corporate Account. So search for that. Okay. Just select and click on edit to open the bank account details. Done. Okay, here bank account level we have account called as multi-currency account. Sorry, we have a checkbox called as multi-currency account. Just enable it. So when you compare with EBS, if you are going to make the foreign currency payments in payables, or if you are going to say just simple example, if you are going to make the foreign currency payment, we have to enable multi-currency allowed checkbox. We'll enable multi-currency checkbox to for any foreign currency related payments. Along with that, you have to go and enable so foreign currency payments checkbox also to support the payments related process. Sorry, payables related payment process. But if you are going to do the cross currency or foreign currency transaction receivables, in that case also as a primary basic option we have to enable multi-currency payments are allowed, multi-currencies are allowed checkbox we have to enable. Again we have to enable multi-currency receipts checkbox also under receivables options. But in Fusion you can do cross currency payment to do the foreign currency payments or cross currency payments or cross currency receipts, whatever you want to do from payables or receivables. Okay, we don't have the module specific setup, only the setup is option is multi-currency account. If you enable the checkbox, this will support us to process the foreign currency payments, cross currency payments as well as cross currency receipts. That's how they just simplified. There is no separate controls available module wise to handle the respective transaction. This is the only one control we have for these three processes. Okay, just make sure that this checkbox is enabled at bank account level, then say save and close. Click on that. Now we have to define the daily rates. Search for daily rates. The daily rates we have to create from spreadsheet. Okay, here select task called as manage daily rates. Then click on go to task icon. If you have to create anything from spreadsheet, we should always remember the ADF DI. The plugin should be installed in the system. See, already just we install that. This is the one I'm talking about. Download ADF desktop integrated. First you should install this, then only you can work on any spreadsheet related. And one more point, we already tested in payables how to load the suppliers and open invoices. For that FBDI process, you don't need to install anything. That you can do straight away. Only ADF DA function related, spreadsheet related process only, this should be installed in your client machine. Okay, take the navigation, then select tab called as daily rates, and here we have a option called as create in spreadsheet. You cannot create through manual process. I mean manual in the sense directly in the system. Through this interface you cannot create it. Only the option is to create daily rates. We have to use spreadsheet. Click on create in spreadsheet. Open this. Say yes, connect. Ignore this. So from currency you can set see, like if you set a rate conversion from USD INR, automatically system will create the conversion between INR to USD also. So I'm going to set USD to INR. Directly you can write the currency name and conversion rate type. So I'm going to select corporate, and from date and to date the conversion is applicable between which dates. I'll say December 29th 16. To date also I'm giving just today's date only. Enough, just we are going to test today itself. Conversion rate $1 equal to how much INR? Just here I want to go with the 60 only. Since I take in this here test case as the relevant amounts. So now simply you can say submit. So automatically submit daily rates import program. Say okay. So here you can see the confirmation row inserted successfully. Number of records successfully inserted is 1. To daily rates table. Okay, done. Now if you want to see from here, you can see that same as the rates are created or not. If you want to see, you can see from here, from currency, and two currencies INR. Rate date is today's date. Click on search system. So the inverse rate means INR to USD. So system created. So these are the three setups we have to complete to implement these cross currency receipts. Now we'll go and create the transaction in dollars and receipt in rupees, and we'll be matching the same receipt on the transaction. Go to navigator, go to billing, go to task list, say create transaction, select transaction source, then select customer, $100 as we discussed. Say complete and review. The transaction number is 24. Then close it. Now switch to receipt workbench. Go to navigator, under receivables, accounts receivable. Go to task list. So here say create receipt. Receipt method is vision check. Receipt number say 8888. Receipt amount. Here select currency. We're going to create this receipt in. The receipt currency is going to be INR. Here see system is giving that some calculator icon and all. Here you can set the conversions and all. Just click on that icon. Once you select foreign currency, it will just give that option. And here the conversion date is yes, today date, and conversion rate type is corporate. Yes, this is the conversion rate applicable, INR to USD. Say okay. You may change it. If you want to change the conversion date to something else, you can change it. Here whatever you are going to enter, those are in rupees, so I'll enter 6,000. I can enter 6,000, more than 6 or whatever, less than, but that will just fall into realized gain or loss, we know that. So system is just converting 6,000 is equal to $100. Okay, now here you can select the customer details. Click on search, select and say okay. Select customer site. See. Click on add open receivables. Okay. Now the currency, the transaction currencies and the receipt currency is different, right? So anyway, I think we have a transaction number 24. Now to find this transaction number 24, which is in the different currency, you have to enable the checkbox, include cross currency transactions. Then only system will display, otherwise you cannot find it. You have to enable the checkbox. Then it will look for other currency transactions which are matching with the same number. Then click on search. Now you can find the transaction. The receipt in rupees and transaction in dollars. So add. Done. Now in the current case what we taken, for example, there won't be any realized gain or loss. It will be matched exactly. Okay, so that's how we taken the conversion. So applied. Okay, entered amount is 6,000 and the applied amount is $100. That is equal to $100. Cross currency rate. Oh, sorry. sorry, the rate was missing. Done. So sorry. So that's all about cross currency receipts concept. We have to find this. You can close it. This we can close it now. Done. Okay, the next concept is okay, we're done with this. Okay, the next concept is receipt write-off. Okay. Fine. Let me take this. Okay, so when you talk about receipt write-off, okay, what is the meaning of this receipt write-off? Okay, so we can use this receipt write-off in the different cases where you can write off the amount, okay, with the different reasons. So I'll take simple example. Say for example, say customer is I'll take the simple example. Say I have one transaction. I have one transaction with $9,000, and the customer paid only $8,000, and customer is not going to pay remaining $1,000. In that case, I may use receipt write-off to write off remaining $1,000 as a bad debts. That is the one case. And other case is, say customer has to pay $9,990, but customer paid $10,000. If you take this simple example, customer has to pay 9,900, say $9,999, and customer paid $10,000. The excess amount is $1. If this is the case, if you contact the customer, definitely customer may not be interested to take that 1 rupee back as a refund. So customer can say like ignore that amount. In that case, if you are going to, since you are going to record the receipt, transaction will be with the $9,990 and receipt will be with the $10,000, but finally you can apply only $9,999 on the transaction, since we generally use natural applications only. So in this case, 1 rupee will be left as an unapplied amount. So when you are generating the report, system will be showing all the time against so and so customer, this much balance is available as an unapplied. So generally, since that amount need to be ignored, so that should not come in the reports. So that is the reason what we'll do, with a concept called as a receipt write-off, we can go and write off the amount, okay, and then from that time it won't appear in the reports. For that reason, we can perform the receipt write-off. Now I'm going to take this simple example. Okay, we'll have a transaction with the $9,999, and we'll create the receipt with $10,000. Okay, and we'll apply receipt on transaction with how much amount? $9,999, and unapplied amount 1 USD will be left. Okay, once you do this, there will be unapplied amount as $1. This $1 will write off by specifying the reason. What reason we are going to write off? Say a customer excess amount, or else just with some what reason we are going to close this amount, which you don't want to display in our records. Okay, so with that reason we'll just go and do it. To implement this functionality, what setups we have to do, we'll see one by one. The first point, so let me take you through the setups to test this. Okay, when I talk about setups, the first what we have to do is, so organization level means business unit level, we have to set up write-off limits. I'll say set up write-off limits at system options. Okay, we'll set up write-off limits at system options level. The other point is we'll set up write-off limits for employee, or call it as user, for user. And when we are performing this write-off, the amount should system has hit that write-off amount to which account, the account specification purpose. For this we are going to do as one activity, that amount system has to hit to specific account. For that we'll create the receivable activity. So create receivables activity for receipt write-off. Okay, fine. So first we'll go and complete these three setups, then we'll see this process in the system. So just in the organization level, you may give the write-off limits. So between, say, the limit range, I can say $1 to $10,000. But user level, based on the role, what role user has, you may set the limits. In the current example, I'm going to give user level just $1 to $100 max. This is the range write-off limits I'm going to give. Between $1 to $100 only the user can write off. But organization level we can set $1 to 10,000. The limits may be applicable for other users, but current user we are going to set only up to $100. We'll create a receivable activity and we'll see now. Okay, let's go to system options. Go to system options, click on user, select setup and maintenance, go to implementation projects, so system options. So manage receivable system options. Then click on go to task icon. Select your business unit. Click on go. Click on business unit name. It will open the system options. And here you can go to cash processing tab. Here you can find write-off limit per receipt from and to. I'm going to specify 1 to 10,000 at organization level, BU level. Okay, then say save and close. Now we have to set the same limits for users also. For that you can search for approval limits. Search with the term called as approval limits. Manage approval limits. So let me drag it. Where is this option? Yeah. Okay, manage approve limits and click on go to task icon. Okay, for which user you want to set the approve limits, you can go and select. Just say click on create and see we are going to set the approve limits for the user called as Fusion. But other point is we are trying to set the approve limits from the same user, right? So we want to set the approve limits for Fusion user, and from Fusion user you want to set approve limits also for Fusion user only. That means we are trying with self approval limits setup. So you cannot set any self approvals. See here, you cannot create or update your own approval limits. Contact the help desk. That means when you are setting the approval limits, you have to complete this setup from other user. Okay, self approval limits cannot be defined in receivables. So just that is a point we have to remember. So now what I'll do is I'll just sign out from here. I think we have a financials user, right, which we created in beginning. First we created financials only. We'll try with that. Yeah, we don't have. Not an issue. It's not mandatory how to do from project only. I can do outside of the project also, but you should do from other user. Okay, from the same user, you should not try to set the approval limits. Search for approval limits. So manage approval limits. Then click on create. Select user. Username is, or say employee name is Fusion. Select and say OK. Document type receipt write off. Currency in dollars. Minimum approval limit $1 to max $100. That's all. Then say save and close. Just click on done. Now we can sign out from here. Your username is Fusion. Enter password. Okay. We completed these two setups. Now we'll go and create the receivable activity for receipt write-off. Go to implementation project. Search. So we don't see here anything as a predefined by system. Let's go and create our own. Only in case of chargeback, we'll see in the other cases all we'll be creating. So select your business unit. Search with the partial name, it is not coming. Okay, fine.
Lakshman,
Please.
the reason is actually when we are doing searching, it sets equals actually. Because of that, it is not taking partial.
Sorry?
So when we are searching something, actually by default it sets as equal. That is the reason it is not taking the partial,
No, no, no.
not a
See,
contain.
no, no, not like that. See, it's not applicable in all the cases. In the many concepts, you can search with the partial name. It's like operator is like, okay, contains. But in few cases, it is not working. That's the reason I'm highlighting that here.
Yeah, yeah. In few cases, actually, when
Yeah,
I
yeah,
looking
correct,
go to the advanced, then I can see that it is the equals to that. That is the reason actually. So that's what I
yeah,
thought actually.
correct, correct. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
So activity type you can select as receipt write-off. So here you can search for some write-off, any write-off is existed or not. I think there should be account called as receipt write-off. Seems to that write-off account we don't have here. Fine, no issues. We'll just go with some random account. Okay. I'll just select any one of the random account just to complete this testing. Okay. But generally we'll be taking the write-off account. You may create one write-off account saying that uh, excess amount. Okay. You may create one account called as so overpayment or excess amount. Let's see the overpayment. Do we have that account? So overtime and all we have related to employee. No issues. We don't need to just work on this. It's enough just you select relevant account. But here since account is not existed, I'm selecting one random account. Then say save and close. Okay, we done with the receivable activity. Now we'll test these transactions. Okay, this will just go with this test case. So first we'll create the transaction. Go to transaction workbench. Receivables billing. So $9,999. Say complete and review. You can close it. Transaction number 25. Just we'll go and create the receipt. Create receipt. So receipt number 9999. Say we received $10,000. Customer is Fusion customer 1. Submit and apply manually. So add open receivables. You know the transaction number directly. You can give transaction number as a receipt reference number. Means receipt you want to apply on which transaction. Click on search. Select. Sorry. Then click on done. So now here we can see unapplied amount is $1. So now you can go to actions and go to more, and here we have a function called as write off. Click on create write off. So how much amount you want to write off? $1. One second. I think it's not reflecting. Just let me save it. So create write off. Yeah, because we didn't save, that is the reason it's not defaulting. So now you can select that amount should hit to which account. Select and say OK. Here you can see the record for receipt write off. We did the write off for $1. So save and close. So that's all about write off. Same as EBS function we have here. Done. Now we'll see the customer refund. Okay, there are several reasons why we refund when you when you get some advance from the customer. Maybe after just procuring some material, after using certain partial amount of advance from the customer, they may request us to refund with several reasons. And other case, I'll go with a simple same case here what we discussed now. I'll go with the almost same example. Fine. Say transaction amount is 9,000. I'm taking simple example. Take customer paid 10,000. In that case, if you contact the customer may ask us, inform us to keep that 1,000 the 1000 excess amount on account, or else customer may request us to refund it, right? Customer can, just two options, but customer is not going to say write off that $1000, right? That's always the volume of amount. So I'll take this example, and here what we'll do is I'll say apply receipt up to 9000. So we'll have a transaction with $9,000, and we'll have a receipt with 10,000. So just we'll assume that customer is paying 10,000, and we'll apply up to 9,000. Then the remaining $1,000, if you want to refund to the customer, it's a mandatory. We have to remit the receipt to bank. Will remit receipt to bank, because once we remit bank to receipt to bank, the system will be updating the receipt status to remitted. If the receipt status is remitted, then only you can, system will support to perform the refund. Then we can perform the customer refund. We can perform customer refund with how much? $1,000. So whenever you perform the customer refund, system will create the payment request invoice in payables automatically, where system will convert this customer as a trading partner, means party. So whenever we perform the customer refund in receivables, system will create, system creates payment request invoice in AP with $1,000. From AP we can make the payment, that's all. So this is a process. So we are going to have a transaction with $9,000, and we'll receive the payment more than the transaction amount. And in that case, just up to transaction amount, we'll apply that. Remaining amount, if you want to refund to the customer, first we have to remit to the bank. Once remittance is done, then we can perform the sorry, just give me 1 second. Fine, sorry. So this is a process we are going to test. To implement this process, we have to do setups in the system. What we have to do is first say just set minimum refund amount at system options. Okay, we have to set a control. What should be minimum amount to process the refund? And other point here is we have to create receivable activity for refund. Create one receivables activity for refund. The next point here is set approval limits. You have to set approval limits for user, which user is going to perform the refunds. So just now we did the same task, right? In case of receipt write-off, we have to set the approval limits for the user. In the same way, for customer refund also, we have to set the approval limits for user. When you compare with EPS, in case of EPS, to perform the customer refunds, no approvals are required. Okay, in EPS, we'll just go on to set, we'll create just receivable activity and we'll go with this process. Okay, but here in Fusion, Along with those setups, you have to set approval limits also for that user. Without approval limits, you cannot process the refund. That's how we have. Let's go and see these setups and process. First, in the system options level, we'll go and set the minimum refund amount. Go to system options. So manage receivables, system options. Click on go to task icon. So here go to cash processing tab. There you can see minimum refund amount. What should be the minimum refund amount? Say minimum should be 10. Otherwise we don't process any refunds less than 10. Fine, done. Now next step, you have to create the receivable activity for refund. Let's go and search. I don't know why they given it's equal to. Do we have refund related? No, let's create. Yeah, it should be customer refund only. Done. Here select refund and select here relevant account with what reason you are refunding. Let's try with that account. Okay, seems to that refund account also we don't have. No issues, we'll just go with one account, but just have to make sure that we are using the right account over there. That's it. We'll go with one random account. Okay, here we'll be giving the proper account with what reason we are refunding, why we are refunding. Since the account is not there, like I'm just selecting one account. Sorry. Then say save and close. So we created uh, receivable activity for refund. Now we have to set the approve limit for this user. So we know like we cannot set any self approvals. So we have to sign out and we have to do from other user. Approve limits. So create memo refund. Okay, create memo base also you can do it, but for this normal refund we don't have separate document type. This only we can use for create memo based refund or normal refunds. This is the document type you have to select. So this and say here 1 2 we are going to refund up to 1,000. I'll say limit for this user is up to $5,000. This user can refund. Now you can sign out from this user. We're done with the setups, right? So now we'll go with the process. This will create the transaction with $9,000. Go to billing task. Then say create transaction. So 9,000. Complete and review. Transaction number 26. Then close it. We'll create receipt with $10,000. Go to accounts receivables task. So create receipt. Sorry, amount. I thought receipt number. So 10,000. So vision customer 1. So submit and apply. 25. Search. 24. Remember transaction number. Fine. Sorry, 26. Fine. So you applied $9,000. Now $1,000 are unapplied. Now receipt status is confirmed. If receipt status is remitted, okay, remitted, then only we can refund this amount. So here you can see, if you go to actions, if you go to more, you don't see issue refund. Reason, receipt status is just confirmed. It should be remitted. So save and close. Now we'll go and perform the remittance. Go to navigator, go to revenue section. Sorry, not required here. Yes. So accounts receivable only. Just go to accounts receivable, and here say first you can perform create receipt remittance batch. Then we can go to manage receipt remittance batch. From there you can approve it. First you have to select task called as create remittance batch. Okay, select create remittance batch. Receipt class, the criteria which receipts you want to remit. Defaulted. Now just click on add. So receipt number directly we can give 1010, then search only this receipt we want to remit. Select, then say apply, click on done. Then say save and close. The batch we created means the selection is completed. Now we have to process it. So go to task panel. Under receipt remittances, we have another task called as manage receipt remittance batches. Select this task, and you can just filter, find out existing batches which just now we created. I just go with the remittance bank. Okay, fine, no issues. Search. So this is only one batch we created. Within that batch we have only one receipt. This is the batch number. Select, then click on approve. Okay, the system is showing is submitted for approval. Your status is completed creation. It's already done. Now once again I'm searching. This should get converted to completed approval. Just since we submitted for approval. Just it's a manual action. No approval is required here. Done. Okay. So we're done with this. Now you can go and find the receipt status as remitted. Sorry, we are on the same page. So manage receipts. Select business unit. receipt number 1010, then search. Now status is remitted. If receipt status is remitted, system will allow us to process the refund against the receipt, whatever the amount you want to refund. So before we go on to perform the refund, we have to make sure that payables periods are open. Like when you are working, definitely periods will be open. Since now we are testing this functionality, we have to make sure that the payables periods are already open. We'll go and verify that. I think we opened since this month only we tested payables also. Anyway, we'll go and check it. Using US term. Here you can see December, current period is December. Okay, open. Now we'll go and just do the activity called as refund. So manage receipts. Select your business unit. Search. Just click on receipt number. Okay. Now select this transaction and go to actions. Go to more. From here you can perform refund. You can issue the refund. Just click on issue refund. How much you want to refund? The remaining just $1,000 which are unapplied. And select customer site. This is what I was referring when you are creating the customer. Okay, when you are creating the customer, for customer address no field is mandatory. Because of that reason, if you ignore to provide the detailed information for the customer address, here you don't find the customer site, but now we can find reason we given the detailed information. Okay, you have to, the customer site should be complete information. If you create customer site as incomplete, yes, when you are creating the transaction you can create, but you will have an issue when you are processing the customer refunds. You don't find anything here, even you have a customer site if it is incomplete site. Okay, and here you can select refund payment method, how you are going to refund to your customers through check. Okay, so that's all. Then you can say okay, then you can save here. You can see the application reference number. It will generate the number for this. Just create it. You can click on that number. You can see the details of refund. So this is the refund details for this business unit, the legal entity, supplier or party. In our current case, party we have to treat. The customer is converted as a party. The payables and site and address and invoice type, payment request. So on all the information is taken. Line amount is 1,000. Okay, fine. So these are the details. Now we'll go to the payables and we'll go and find from there. Let's navigate to payables. Just let me say save and close here. The recent invoice in payables within the last 24 hours. You can just click on that, the system will display the same. This is the one invoice number. This and 1000. Supplier name is Fusion Customer 1. Validated. Okay. So this is how just you can make the payment. So that's how it works. So which payment terms it has to take and all you can set in the options only. Based on that, it will pick the value and it will be generating. So that's all about customer refund process, the configuration process we discussed. So that's all for today. Any questions on today's session, please? So in tomorrow's session, we'll see all these concepts, using buckets, methods. Using buckets only here we call as using methods. Revenue recognition, balance for billing, how to review the customer balances. Then we'll work on this FBDI. Then we'll go with the smart receipts and all. So here configuration process it's won't be possible. Just I'll put as an overview. Okay, I'll just provide the relevant document. We'll talk on that because it is nothing but a logbox concept, a bit advanced compared to logbox in terms of criteria and application. We'll discuss that when you're working. I think along with all those I just mentioned configuration process. We'll see automatic receipts, late charges, etc. etc. We'll see. So any questions on today's session, please?
So Lakshman,
Yeah.
uh, you have shown it remitting the receipt manually.
Sorry?
So in we have remitted the receipt manually.
Yep.
Okay, but in real scenario, doing it manually for each receipt, I think it is not possible.
You can go and submit the batch program, right? We have a job in EBS also. We do the same. You can
Yes,
just
yes, in EBS we have a program.
here also you can run that, but I want to remit specific receipt. That's the reason. Just I
Okay,
gone through this process. Yeah, you
okay. So
can.
here also we have the same concept
Yeah,
of submitting
yes,
the
yes,
request.
yes, yes. Here are same. There is no change. You can run the report which shows which receipts are pending for remittance, and you can submit that, and you can do in that way.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yeah. Fine. So any questions? Fine. Seems to no questions. Fine. Then we can wind up the session for today. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good day and good night. Thank you.